Hello, welcome to my second time interviewing someone. I've done, again, weather over 30 years here at WTVA, and this is my second opportunity. If you remember, about a month ago, we talked to Pat Boone. Well, this gentleman right here, let me tell you, one of the biggest stars in television, and back in the 1960s, this gentleman was part of a TV show that had maybe some of the highest ratings ever of a TV show. I believe it was a 55 share, and that's a big time ratings. And this show may be one of the biggest and most popular shows, not just here in the United States, from all around the world. I'd like to welcome to my second show, Burt Ward. Welcome, Burt.
Hello, citizen.
Hello there, Burt. How are you, or Robin? How are you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Well, you know, we'll talk about Batman and your adventures on the Batman and all about your life and everything in just a moment. But now you've got a big adventure that's going on in your life called Gentle Giants, correct?
Yes, well, for the last 28 years, my wife and I have rescued dogs, primarily giant breed dogs, but actually we have some of all sizes. And we've rescued more than 15,500 dogs, every one of which would have been put to death if we hadn't been there to take them, sometimes on the very day that they were about to be euthanized. We've saved so many animals, and we love dogs, and we love cats. And in the course of saving these animals, because we were saving primarily the giant breeds, which traditionally have the shortest lifespan, when we would lose one, and some of these giants, they only live 6 to 8 years or 7 to 9 years, my wife and I were so devastated that we said, there must be some way. If there is a way to help them live longer and healthier, we want to try to do that. And we developed a feeding and care program for dogs, for these rescue dogs, which now is all across the United States and in Canada, our Gentle Giants special feeding and care program that helps them live an extra 5 or 6 years. And then we developed our own special food, which is different from every other dog food. And what makes it so dramatically different is that if your viewers or listeners ever feel their dog's food, that they actually feed them those kibbles and rub them in their fingers, then put the kibbles down and rub their fingers together, they're going to feel that slightly greasy feeling, because dog food is filled with animal fat and coated with more animal fat. And the problem with this is that it clogs their arteries and intestines and shortens their lifespan. Our dog food, Gentle Giants is the name of it, our dog food, we have dogs living up to 27 and a half years.
Oh, wow.
Running around like puppies in their 20s. And not only are they living long, healthy lives, but there's something else. They don't get sick. We have no illness here. Our dogs, and I always have about 50 in my house, okay? I mean, I've literally gone to the dogs, but our dogs are so healthy, the only time they go to a veterinarian is every 3 years for a rabies update. No illness. And the quality of our dog's life is absolutely superb. And we have people all across America that have been feeding our food 15 or 20 years, and they're getting the same results. So what we're thrilled about is that this is so important to us. And by the way, my wife and I don't take any salary from this. This is not about money for us. This is about helping animals live longer and healthier. And when you think about all the people that are comforted and enjoy their man's best friend, so to speak, their favorite dog, it is incredibly rewarding that we could add so many years to their lives. And Gentle Giants is now all across America. It's in grocery stores, it's in pet stores, it's in Target stores, and starting next month, in November, we're going to be in HEB and throughout all of Texas. So we're thrilled that we are able to do this. And one other thing I want to mention, that we also have cats here.
Okay.
And we're incredibly pleased to find out that our dog food was being consumed by our cats. We lost 2 cats 2 years ago. One was 31 years old. The other was 32 years old. Unheard of.
My goodness, 31,
so
32.
We took this amazing formula that we made for dogs, converted it with top nutritionists to be perfectly suitable for cats. So now we have our Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, along with our Gentle Giants dog and puppy food.
I guess that officially falls under the category, I guess you need to say it, Holy Cats and Dogs Batman, right?
Holy longevity, Batman.
Yeah, holy longevity. My gosh, the cats over 30 years and dogs over 20 years. That's really, really cool. And you just got that, you got into this back about, what, 30 years ago, correct?
Yes, in August of 1994,
okay.
My wife and I moved. We live about an hour east of Los Angeles, halfway between Los Angeles and Palm Springs, in a wonderful animal-friendly community called Norco, California, where horses, for example, have the right of way over cars, where you see hundreds of people on weekends riding their horses. And it's not just horses, but they're all kinds of animals. You see emus and camels and cows and 800-pound pigs. And I mean, and what makes this such a wonderful community is that everybody loves animals. They all love animals. And so we have a common bond between all of our neighbors in that, everybody is animal loving. So what a great place for us to, introduce our rescue. And I will tell you this, that in August of 1994, and that's 28 years ago, my wife and I started rescuing Great Danes. Apparently the person in Southern California who had been rescuing them had passed away. So all these beautiful Great Danes were when somebody had to give them up, they were going to shelters and being put to sleep. I mean, all of them. And we started rescuing Great Danes. I said to my wife, Tracy, first week of August 1994, I said, honey, we can't let these dogs die. How about just for a couple of weeks till we find somebody else to take this over? Let's just rescue these Great Danes, right? We have 5 acres. We have plenty of property. Well, by the end of August, we had 102 full-size Great Danes in our house and 62 puppies under 7 weeks of age. My wife was sleeping on the floor. We never bred any dogs, but we rescued dogs, puppies from shelters, because a lot of the shelters say, it's not healthy being in a shelter with such a young animal. So anyway, and the thing is that I told my wife it'd only be a couple of weeks till we found someone to take it over. My gosh, it's been 28 years.
There you go.
We're still waiting for somebody to come rescue us.
Well, and hopefully 28 and many, many, many more years than that. Just wondering about, basically, you've been doing this now for almost 30 years. Now, is this something that you always look forward to doing? And also your website, because just to tell you that a lot of folks maybe here in North Mississippi and Northwest Alabama may not have it at their grocery store. Also, you can tell us about your website. So is this something that you've been always wanting to do?
Yes, and our website is gentlegiantsdogfood.com, and there's a gentlegiantscatfood.com, and we are in Tennessee and Alabama, and Virginia, and Kentucky. It's a chain of stores, food store, grocery stores that called Food City. And I don't know if you have them in your area, but so it is available there, but also in Target stores and also online from all the online companies like PetSmart.com, Petco.com, Chewy.com, Walmart.com, TractorSupply.com, and our own website, GentleGiantsDogFood.com.
Definitely, we've got Tractor Supplies and Walmart here, and hopefully they'll get into the stores.
On their .com, not in the stores yet, in online.
That's what I'm saying. Hopefully,
and Target.com. All of those you can order and have it delivered. Some of them have free delivery to your house next day.
All right.
So it works out terrific. But the key thing is that we're helping people keep their dogs living longer and healthier. And in our case of my own daughter, my wife and I, when we had our daughter, 1991, we got her a dog, and she had the same dog for more than 20 years. What a wonderful thing for a child to grow up with their best friend and have the same dog for more than 20 years.
That is something. I mean, my goodness. I mean, and again, you mentioned cats over 30 years. My goodness, you all are doing a great service to everybody, the cats, dogs, and humanity and everything. So now let's switch gears and talk a little bit about your times. Well, I know you've had a long career beyond Batman, but I mean, your largest part of your career was Batman back in the 1960s, and then that it went on for years from animation to other things that you did, reprisals of the Batman, you and Adam West. And I'm just going to give you a couple of names, and you just give me a reaction to some of these names and what if any story or anything that reactions that you had big time in life. First person I'm going to toss you is Madge Blake.
Oh, well, Madge Blake played Aunt Harriet, and she was the sweetest lady. I'll tell you, I have a funny story to tell about Madge. When she actually was on camera, she got very nervous. I mean, prior to that, she was so nervous. We had a scene that first time I was working with her, where I was standing next to her, and in the scene, I'm supposed to cross over to the room to meet with Bruce Wayne, who was played by Adam West. And so, but she had some dialogue. She had a sentence or two before I was to make my move. And she got so nervous when they, went on camera and said, action, that she grabbed my hand and held on to it. And when I was supposed to cross the room, I couldn't cross the room because she kept me from going. And they said, cut. They said, Burt, what's the matter? You're supposed to cross the room. I said, yes, yeah, you're right. I wouldn't tell on her. She was such a sweet lady, and poor thing got so nervous, but she was such a delight. And I learned when I stood next to her to put my hands behind my back so she couldn't grab onto me and keep me from being able to do either my lines or my action.
Okay. How about Julie Newmar?
Oh, Julie Newmar, an incredible, talented, beautiful actress. She was the perfect Catwoman. And we had a lot of fun on the set on Batman. I also made many appearances after the series at these memorabilia shows, these car shows, and she came to some of these events. Adam and I did a lot of personal appearances together, but Julie joined us on some of them, and she was such a delight and such a wonderful, kind of an unpredictable person, and that's what I think made her so amazing as Catwoman. But even though you knew that she had certain lines for her to say, oh, there's must be Commissioner Gordon calling me.
Might have to take that call.
Yes, right. But she was unpredictable, but she was amazing as Catwoman and just the most delightful person. And we all had a lot of fun going out and signing autographs and meeting people throughout the years. And also on the show, she was just absolutely terrific and the consummate professional.
Okay, and how about Cesar Romero?
Oh, when Cesar Romero came onto the set to portray the Joker, I mean, here was the classic. I mean, the classic movie star. I mean, from what you would imagine the past. I mean, such a grand gentleman. Just knew all of his lines. Never made a mistake. I mean, he was just so professional. And for me, I must tell you, as a young actor, working every week with some famous celebrity that I'd either seen on television or watched in movie theaters, I was like the kid in the candy store. I mean, here, and Cesar Romero, very nice man, and just the consummate professional. I can't speak highly enough of how every scene he did, the director could ask him to do it 5 times, maybe because there's lighting problems or camera problems or who knows what, right? And he always did it perfectly every time. It was an education for me. It was like an acting class.
And then there's Adam West.
My dear friend. A quick story about Adam. Adam and I screen tested together. And I remember that it was amazing. I had an incredible opportunity. I met a producer who sent me to an agent. The agent told me I'd never get a job for at least a year. I might, if I did, I'd get one sentence. And then a couple of weeks later, the same agency sent me over to Fox. They said, there's something going over at 20th Century Fox. We don't know what it is. Just go over there. Seeing a bunch of young guys. And I went over the next day and ended up meeting the casting director, meeting the executive producer, and then I was offered a screen test. And when I went to the screen test, Adam was there. And they said, we're going to introduce you to the actor that is going to be reading the role of Bruce. And let me tell you something. I had no idea that I was trying out for Batman. Nobody said anything. They just said, we're looking for a young guy. And when they handed me this one page of dialogue, it just said Bruce with dialogue and Dick with dialogue. It didn't say Bruce Wayne, didn't say Dick Grayson, didn't say Batman. It said Bruce and Dick, and who, anybody can be Bruce and Dick. And they said, we want to introduce you to the actor that's going to be reading the lines of Bruce, so that the two of you, if you want, you can talk for a couple of minutes and you run your lines together, kind of like a practice. And I said, great. I met Adam. I sat down next to him. Within 5 minutes of the two of us talking, we started laughing, and we never stopped laughing for more than 50 years. He was the funniest person in my life I've ever met. Just a natural. I mean, he just saw things that from ways that other people don't see them. And everything he saw, it was always like a double meaning, an innuendo, an insinuation of something where you go, ooh, wait a minute.
I've seen a few of those.
I mean,
on TV.
Always, everything he said and did had a suggestive thing. And it just tickled me, I'm telling you. And our families got along great. And on weekends, sometimes, even though we'd work 14 hours a day for 5 days in a row in a hot costume, sometimes on weekends we go out and play tennis. I mean, we were true friends, and just the greatest guy. And we lost him in 2017, and it was a terrible loss for me and for his family, of course. But he was a great, and he was the consummate Batman. All these others are wonderful actors that have portrayed them in the movies, but in terms of who was really Batman, in my opinion, Adam West.
I agree with you, Adam West, and you're the real Robin, Burt Ward. And I hope, there may be some future ventures. Do you have any more future ventures? Do you think that you'll be doing any more voiceovers for some cartoons or anything like that? Or is that, I saw that you did Batgirl,
yeah,
I think.
My wife and I are doing a lot more than that. We have our own production company, and we actually have on our property, we have our own animation studio.
Alrighty.
We have a recording studio. We're building a sound stage. We're going to make our own television shows and movies, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to do it. And everything we're going to do is going to be wholesome and fun for the whole family. What my wife likes to call kids of all ages. Great family entertainment, and both live action and animation, great characters, just great stories, and something that's uplifting, because what my wife and I want to accomplish in our lives is to make this world a better place than we found it. Try to do our part to improve the lives of all of us.
And one other thing, I've heard that just for all the future actors out there, you started off as a teenager in this business in Hollywood, and it was rough on you the first couple of years, especially. I mean, first, well, not the acting and everything like that, just being caught as a stunt double, basically. You did your own stunts there for a good long while, right?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened on Batman. Apparently, it was hard for them to find a stuntman that looked like me. And they finally did find a stuntman, but he didn't look like me at all. So whenever there was a shot that was either a close-up or even a medium shot, they had to use me. Only in the really long shots, where you're down the block and the Batmobile is racing by with Batman and Robin, could they use the stuntman. So as a result, I had to do a lot of my own stunts, which I would have preferred not to do. And as a result of some dangerous stunts, I ended up going to the hospital 4 days in a row on the first episode.
My goodness. From
second-degree burns, a broken nose from a 2x4 landing on my face. I mean, I didn't think I was going to survive the first week. So it was very challenging. But you know something? Still, it was an amazing show. It was a wonderful thing. It brought such happiness. I can't tell you how many hundreds of millions of people, they said 400 million people a day worldwide were watching Batman. We were just about every country on this planet.
One of my favorite sayings, I guess, you may remember this one, when Batman sits down and says, "Atomic batteries to power turbines of speed," and you said, what did you say?
No, that was my line.
Oh, that was your line. Yeah, yes.
Power,
you correct me. You correct me. Yes,
I knew it was. Move out. That was. Yeah, no. Adam and I, we had a great time. That Batmobile was a spectacular vehicle. They had 3 of them because when you're on set, gosh, if something happened to one, it didn't start or it got banged up, you can't stop filming. So there were 3 of them, and these were like $150,000 vehicles back in the '60s. Which would be like, I guess, about $1.5 million vehicle each one in today's prices.
Well, my goodness, it has been a pleasure to have you here on my second show that I've done here, and certainly you and your wife are doing a great thing for humanity now with, again, with the dogs and cats that you're rescuing, and hopefully you'll be doing this for many, many, many more years.
Well, I certainly hope so. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And as we said on Batman, to the Batmobile, citizen!
All right, thank you, Robin. Mr. Burt Ward, thank you for being with us here on my show.